Coming at you live. See my dog? She likes to hang out while I'm doing readings. So if you ever do get a personal from me, likely, and if you're okay with dog, if you're not scared of dogs, she's good with people. So she just likes to chill and hang out, see what's going on, and keep the bees away from me. Do you know what I mean? But if you do come for a reading, here's some of the decks that I have. So when you do get a personal from me, no, I'm not just going to tell you what you want to hear, but you will get to choose which deck you want. A lot of my music friends like the Deadhead, the Grateful Dead Tarot deck. Then I have, some of the special oracle decks like the Lover's Oracle and so on. Okay, so you have options here, right? And obviously, you can ask a question to meditate on during the reading to see what comes out, or you can just see what comes out and you do your own validation. You don't need to be telling me a thing, right? And I think some of us that are skeptics, I mean, I've had my own share of healthy skepticism. So, um, you know, getting readings from other people, it's like, but then they say things, and then I'm like, and I know I purposefully withheld that type of information from them because I didn't want them to, you know what I'm saying? So, a good reader isn't going to pressure you for any information whatsoever, right? It's all about how you approach the reading. The same as any of these collective readings that are out here from me, and there's many, many, many other channels, okay, that you can choose from. So, if the news just isn't jiving, right, with your life and what you think needs to be going on, just change the channel, right? Um, that might not be the part of the spiritual journey that you are on, right? And I don't care if they're the number one so and so of so and so, right? I stopped by a friend of mine this place the other day just to stop and say hello. And I said, yeah, you know how it is. I'm too old to be kissing the butts of people for fake um, fake dreams of riches. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm here to work, I'm here to do business, but I have no illusions. And some people don't operate without their ego. You know what I mean? So it's like always there. Um, recognizing that as well in readings, okay, where you're just like, and sometimes your ego steps in to say, like, hey, I don't think this is you. Well, you maybe need to listen to that. That's part of your intuition, voicing your ego and helping heal maybe your throat chakra. So when people start to read, like their astrology thing in the newspaper, and they're like, that's not me, blah blah. They're exercising their throat chakra, right? The story Tower of Babel, right? Which is kind of funny. There's been some hot topics about Duolingo and stuff, but there's also another one called Babel. So I don't know if they are in this AI journey as well, but you know, the old and I'm not a Bible expert by far, but there's the old story of all the different tribes coming together, right? And but it was they couldn't understand each other because they were all speaking different languages, right? So sometimes what we hear in these messages, it might just be babble to us, and you might even say it's psychobabble or whatever. And that's okay to hold that viewpoint. I feel like a lot of folks get offended and think that, oh, well, that means that you're saying I'm wrong. It's not what anybody's saying. So just to use discernment when watching the readings. And who do you want to deport? BAAN? I personally am not like, this is not what that channel is talking about at all. So, um, I don't know who you could be possibly saying that to at all. Um, and for that reason, you're going to have to be um, removed. Okay. So, yeah. Hello, Queen. Hello, La. I see La. That's a nice thing to wake up to. La, right? Yes. And again, exercising your voice, saying good morning, saying hello, welcoming the day, right? We can all do this, right? So, anyway, I was giving a brief overview of what happens during some of the personal readings that I give for those that are coming to me for assistance, right? And and then that might give you a little bit more insight too into some of these readings again that I'm doing for free out here on the internet for everybody to enjoy, because we don't always have abundance in the material world in our pockets, right? That doesn't mean we don't need air, we don't need food, we don't need spiritual health, we need all of those things, we still need shelter, right? um, so my prayer for you then today is, if there is kind of like a Five of Pentacles pall around your situation, that changes for you quickly. Okay. I also saw all the cardinals are meeting like to elect the pope, so that should be coming. I'm guessing. What do you think, by this weekend? I don't know. There's probably bets in Vegas on that, right? But I'm not. I'm not that diehard of a gambler. I did bet on the Kentucky Derby though. I didn't. I mean, I won I won back some of the money that I put up, but I didn't I didn't pick the winner. So again, if you're looking for a reader that's going to give you things like that to, you know, um, kind of exploit, again, I'm not the reader for you. Okay, so you'll have to go. Talk to somebody else. Also, as with any business, the right to refuse service, as with personal readings, because I don't engage in those types of activities that are trying to manipulate the gifts that we're given for nefarious purposes. Okay. Law says, me neither, not a big gambler. Yeah, I've been to Vegas twice. Like the first time I went, I did gamble a little bit, like on the old strip, and I broke even. Like I practically broke even like the whole time. It was fun, and it was like 3 or 4 hours of like gambling, going to the different games and stuff. So, you know what I mean? I feel like it's part of that. It's like keeping that journey of life fun, fulfilling, emotionally healthy, mentally well, right? Mentally sound, right? A lot of these trolls come on, and somebody says never been to a casino, is too scared. We have some smaller ones by me also. So those are, if you're nervous about some of the big Vegas stuff, those are pretty easy to get to kind of walk around in and stuff. You just like spend an hour or two there. You know what I mean? Obviously that's depends on your budget, right? Some people like to buy lottery tickets. I don't really. So every now and then I might go gamble on a horse race or something. Throw my funds in the pot and see what happens. You can't win if you don't play, right? Isn't that what they say with the lottery? Which I did buy one of the $2 tickets because the mega got bumped up to five. Okay, so I only bought one of the $2 tickets at the Powerball the other day, at the gas station. Thank you for subscribing. I do love poker. Well, that's a game of skill, really, poker. So, and then not only reading your own cards, but reading the table and then judging what the dealer might have as well. So, you might be good at that. I'd say give it a shot sometime. And there's all those apps on it, but you can just go. You can walk into some of these smaller places and throw $5 on the table. You play a hand, and then it's done. You know what I mean? So then you at least get the experience, right? It's kind of like tarot. It's like it's an experience. Does every single thing mean something to you? No. How could it possibly, right? Um, that's why we're all learning all the time. Okay. People think when they graduate junior high, high school, college, they stop learning. That's not true. And that's part of what your spiritual health is kind of that little knock saying, you know, hey, there's just a little something more that I need, right? Um, and that can be brought on some folks due to loss. Here's a meditation deck. I would say, for a large majority of the practicing Catholics out there, losing Pope Francis, especially being the kind of pope that he was probably a really big loss, you know, not only spiritually but emotionally. And now, it's so weird at this time at right after Easter, too, that this happened. And now it's like, a resurgence of faith for those folks, once this new pope is going to be elected. So, I know a lot of people have problems with this religion and that religion. I wish all forms of worship well. Do you know what I mean? Um, I, you know, I hope it works out for you. Do you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with having that kind of attitude in life. You can still be a practical person and wish people well, right? you know. So and sometimes there's science behind that as well, right? Because the tire pressure is supposed to hold against the rubber after a certain point, right? So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get into this reading. I really was not planning on going on this long of a spiel. I was really gonna get right into the cards this morning, but I've been checking if these are my mail carrier was a little early today, and then we have trash pickup today, so it's busy with some other things going on, right? As you all, I'm sure, get inundated with emails and messages on the daily. I was when some of you guys that watch me regularly know I was car shopping a week or so ago, and I actually went for a test drive and everything. And she's like, I was trying to call you, but you didn't answer your phone. I was like, if I answered everybody that called me, I was like, I would never get anything done. That's why she texted me, and I saw that, then I saw who it was from. Because, these random numbers, it's like, it doesn't have her name on it. So it's like, why would I answer that? I have no idea who that is. All right. Let's see what the meditation deck has to say. Oh my God. Renewal. What was I just saying? I got Easter renewal, the resurgence of faith for a lot of folks. And I feel like that's not just within the religious community. I feel like this shift has been happening for a lot of people for a while, especially on the track that we've been going, where a lot of us remember a time, when, right? And then there's right. You ever see that Sex in the City when she's like, oh, my dermatologist said, don't do that, do this, right? Sometimes it's just a certain way of looking at life and saying, okay, we have a new chapter and we're going to actually witness it. Look at how many chapters we've been here for, and now we get to do another one. And we survived all those chapters so far. So let that be a renewal of something to look forward to. And I feel like as well, like when you're trying to keep in the abundance mindset, right, and you think, well, I want this and I want this, but it's not happening right now, right? Sometimes that can test our faith. Let this be a renewal of your faith, that keeping on that track is going to manifest the life that you want, right? Just as when you watch these readings or watch anything on television, what kind of apps are you using? How are you filling your day, right? Um, anyway. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this live today. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And and there's folks that'll be like, well, why do you go to church? Why do you do that? Well, leave those people alone. Just like leave the tarot readers alone. This is us practicing our faith, our spirituality, our belief in mankind and humanity. Right? Sometimes it's not easy to come by these days. And I think, again, that's where you need to look at the renewal of that faith. Okay? Yeah, meditate on it. You know what I mean? Here's another thing too. If you're not sure what to do, yeah, pray about it. If you're not a religious person, you're like, I don't pray to God. Sit and meditate about it. Just get quiet for a second. Sometimes being out in nature can help us do that, right? Yeah, the lotus. Here, the crown. The crown chakra may be very important for some of you. Okay. I also do chakra style readings as well as past, present, future. I have many readings out on my channel, so you can search within the channel or just scroll through the many, many, many videos I have. I think I have close to 700 videos now just on this channel alone. For some people, they like to listen to music while they meditate. I do recommend the solfeggio frequencies, things of that nature. Um, Sometimes you need to make a little bit of noise, though. I do have a channel for music as well. Gathering, it's my Ophelia's Band channel. So, yeah, you may be connecting more with like minded, like they say, kindred spirit, um, you know, kind of a type of, soul brother, soul sister type thing, where it's almost like that feeling of family, but these people might not be like your blood relatives, but like you've lived through some things together, but it's not like total trauma bond, like you had enough good times too. You can still talk to each other without yelling at each other, unlike so and so, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Right, where you're like, yeah, I could maybe stand going to that gathering for a while. I'm not saying you got to be there all day, right? But you could probably hang out for a little bit and be cool, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's part of maturity as well. Again, emotionally healthy, mentally well. Instead of expecting a conflict everywhere you go, right? Just going with an open mind, open heart, seeing how what shakes out. Okay. I gotta get a sip here. A dog. She's like hunting these wasps here over in the bushes, like the air candy for her. Oh my God, what did I say? Open mind, open heart. Hmm. Was that Friday Night Lights movie that they made into a TV show for a while? They're like, um, clear mind, strong hearts or something. You know what I mean? Can't lose. It's just forget about everything else for a little while, right? Focus on maybe one or two things just today, right? And put your effort in to that. And that could be as simple as, scheduling in time to take, the dog and the kids for a walk somewhere, go to the park for an hour or whatever it is, right? And then once you get back home and then you get back into the, my dishes, my laundry, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm glad I I'm glad I filled that part of myself and those around me. It puts me in a good mood, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah. Celebrate. Instead of worrying about, oh gosh, they're gonna think I'm like, why isn't that you ever be like that when when you work like some regular hours or whatever, and you're at lunch break and you're like, who are all these other people out driving around right now? Shouldn't everybody be at work? But yet here we are driving around, right? Um, you know, um, Sometimes it's all work in the eyes of, the higher power, right? And who are we to judge what work that is. Hmm. So, harassing people's YouTube channels is like fairly pathetic way to go about it. But anyway, um, yeah. So I'm kind of getting again that from whatever that Five of Pentacles is, if for some reason you thought this wasn't your season to celebrate because of something happening, that's not the case at all. You can be like, oh, well, the Pope died. Oh, well, my dog's sick. Oh, well. Okay, you're dealing with those things, but you can still be filled with joy and um, pleasure for life. What's that Iggy Pop song? Lust for Life, right? Yeah, I've had it in the ear before. Yeah, step out of your comfort zone. Just don't get all bloodied up on stage like you used to. Some punk rockers went a little crazy, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, stepping out of your comfort zone, yeah, maybe part of celebrating is, you know what? Yeah, so what? I'm some old retired fart, right? I'm supposed to be sitting in my rocking chair, right? Well, maybe you're not that type. Maybe you like to get up and boogie every now and then. Celebrate the fact that you can. Still use your legs, right? All right, Lieutenant Dan, yeah, get shaken, right? I mean, have your spouse make a TikTok video of it. You might go viral, you know? I mean, this is the moment. When I was younger, I would always ask, like, what about this? When this? What? And I would always hear, like, I'd be like, someday, maybe someday, blah, blah. And as I got older, it's like, I started realizing it's like, as an adult, I can make the question of someday, the question of when right now, if I want to. Hmm. And again, I was getting this earlier. This was so long ago, this concert I was at. It was a really packed house. So it was like, wall to wall, like you couldn't barely budge. And of course, the bar, is over here and off to my side. And somebody was coming back from the bar, and this woman wanted me to move. And I was like, move where? I looked down at my feet. There was literally this much between the front end of my shoes and the person's heels in front of me. So I looked at her and I said, go around. And no, but she wanted to like me to like just, I don't know, like magically like a chess piece be lifted, levitated into the air, but she got like shitty with me during the show. It was kind of like shoving her. And it's just like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do. It's like if I move, then I'm tearing into somebody else's space like an asshole. So no, I'm not going to do that for you, ma'am, because you had to go visit the bar at the middle of the show. I don't care. I don't. Go around. There was plenty of room in the back to go around. Okay? You know what I mean? It's like some people want to make their inconvenience your priority, and it's like, no, that's not how this works. That is not how this works. When we get renewed, we all get renewed. It's not just for the people over there. It's not just for those people, and well, maybe those people. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All my homies. Ba ba da 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 da. Roll out. Is that the song? Roll out. Sorry. I don't know the names of all the songs, but I can like sing a little bit for I did go and get some new tuners for my guitar yesterday at my local music store because I cannot find my old tuner for the life of me. But it was kind of getting raggy anyway. I mean, I've literally probably had that other tuner like 15, 20 years. So, right? Your commitment is being tested. Okay. All right. So if you're feeling tested, yeah, okay. And I had a situation the other day, and I'm like, okay. It's like I'm getting the message, God. Yep, this is some kind of test, right? Add to a list of times you're going to be tested in life. Okay. Again, people think tests stop at the standardized thing in eighth grade. No, no. And even if they don't want to admit it, they're still going to be getting tested in life because it's going to be, I got to fill out all this paperwork for this application. I got to go through 3 interviews just to get this job. I got to, those are tests in life. Okay. So, a lot of people test anxiety, right? Right? Um, but it's a test that's made for you. Okay. For some of you, that means you're here to then help others and guide them through these same types of challenges. Okay. So you could be like me and have a channel online, sharing experiences. You could be doing something more specific. You could be on TikTok. I don't know what, you know what I mean? Who knows by the time you see this video what new apps are out there, right? It seems like they crop up. Um, anyway, so that could be part of it too. It's like, sometimes we want to check out. It's like, oof, yeah, you're testing me all right. And it's like, would be so easy for me right now to just say, I don't need this, right? Again, what is, think about that. Think about the why. hmm Okay, so again, for some of you, that may mean meditation. Such a weird spot. They must be burning in the next neighborhood over. Hang on a second. Yeah. We're not supposed to have open burning where I'm at unless you have like a fire ring or something, So, but the next like community over does. But I mean, it's a very still day. That's why I was like very surprised to smell this kind of like smoke all of a sudden. So, I don't know. Maybe it's somebody's grill that just hasn't had some attention. You know what I mean? But it kind of smelled like burnt leaves or something. I was like, that ain't right. Adjustments are required. Okay. So maybe you've not been meditating enough. Maybe you've been meditating, but it's just not been working for you. Maybe you need to do something else like go hit the gym or do runs or gardening or, you know what I mean? Sometimes sitting there, you're like, okay, well, so what, right? Some people aren't built for that stuff. Okay, like that's nice for some folks, right? That's not it. Some folks, you know. I'm not saying you can't follow my 5-minute rule, okay, but there are other paths and ways. Again, don't feel guilty about it, right? Don't start beating yourself up because you're not as prayerful as the next whoever, okay? That is always at that church or is always, posting about this yoga pose and that yoga pose or whatever it is, okay? because we all do these things in our own ways. And people be like, well, you're not trying hard enough. Well, you know what? Maybe that person has some type of um, aversion that they can't even help. All right. So, again, that's somebody else trying to force that square peg into the round hole. I remember I was out in this. I'm not going to say the name of the town because I don't want to. Because I'll go back. I'll go back. I mean, it just happened to be an experience. Okay. Um, I happened to be in this like spiritual town, right? And I took a kind of like one of these expressive dance classes or whatever, where they kind of encourage you to, make big movements and stuff. And at the time, this was before I had any of my toenail surgeries done on my one foot. So it was difficult for me to like jump and stuff without pain. Even like working out, like to do like standard push-ups, it hurt that toe. So I would do like modified push-ups stuff. And the instructor noticed, and she probably saw that, like, and this was several years ago, so probably like within 10 years ago maybe. So yeah, I was a lot younger looking then. She's probably like, well, hey, why aren't you jumping up and down? But I was having a physical, it's not, and she was like getting in my face and stuff, like, and was like, yeah, I'm having fun. I was like, don't fucking attack me. I was like, I paid you, remember? Um, I was also having altitude sickness at the time, and I didn't even know it. So it was a very surreal experience, let me tell you. Um, so I'm at sea level here where I'm at, folks. So I'm a flatlander. What's that Molly Tuttle song? I'm a flatland girl. You ever hear that? I shouldn't play that guitar. Anyway, um, yeah. So, it's like, I'm just saying, it's not for want for, it's not a lack of passion. It's just we cannot all express ourselves in the same way that somebody else is, directing us to do. And that's okay. That's why tarot may not be for you. This channel may not be for you. It's okay. Take a pill. Or don't take a pill, right? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you just need some meditation. Maybe that's your thing, right? Don't knock it till you try it, right? So that's, this adjustments are required. The old way, maybe it's just not working for you anymore. Maybe that's due to some kind of life change. That's okay. Doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you're exploring and challenging yourself in ways that you didn't know uh, you were gonna have the opportunity to do, to carve through like a fucking river, dude. That water don't stop, man. Does not stop. It just keeps on coming. Just keeps on coming. Water signs can be very significant, especially I'm using the Minology deck here. Okay, and again, gathering emotional, so your emotional health. Do check into what your water sign placements are. Might help some of you understand maybe personality-wise what might be going on. Okay, if you have trouble, especially for folks that have a difficult time describing emotions, sometimes reading about these different signs and seeing the words, right? Use your words, right? Seeing the words connected to some of these actions and behaviors. It's like, oh, maybe that is something kind of like what I've been feeling, but maybe didn't have the name for it right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Confidence is your key to success. All right. So, collective, especially if you come from like a large family or something, it may have been, I wouldn't say difficult, but maybe you just felt like you were just, another rung on the ladder, right? Um, but just being confident about who you are is going to give you all the confidence really you need in order to keep going forward. Okay. And hitting those success markers that you have laid out for yourself, right? And some people don't understand what your success markers are because, again, they've not had to go on that path, right? So that's why it's so important to celebrate every little thing that you do because, yeah, other people don't know all the challenges, they don't know all the hurdles, they don't know, right? All the things that maybe you've been doing. And sometimes that's because, we're not speaking on those things. Maybe we're making moves in silence. Maybe it's just called getting busy and getting to work. And, that's just life, right? Right? A new start is coming. All right. We have a waxing moon currently. So the moon's going to be full here. We just had a half moon the other night. I took some pictures of it. I should post to the page for you guys because they did turn out pretty well. Um, so I feel like this new start is coming here when you open up this heart to other things, right? Yeah. Okay. And that's part of your celebration. For many of you, that might be with close relatives that you're celebrating, or your chosen family, right? It doesn't always have to be, right? But it says here, you and your loved ones are safe. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I guess I'll pull some tarot since I did pull the pulp tarot deck to work with today. Thank you to those of you that have liked the video already, that have participated in the chat today. Especially if you are in the chat, please do like the video. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video. And it does pass those messages around to those who may need them. And if that's not your message today, just please do not sweat it and maybe go find a different channel or different outlet that may be more appropriate for your speed, right? That might be what you're getting renewed by. Yeah. For instance, me doing readings, helping other people. You know what I mean? Through learned and shared experience. That renews me, right? For some people, they put that effort. I don't have any youngsters at home, so I mean, for some people, they're putting that effort into their kids, into their family. I put a lot of effort into my dog. But she seems pretty happy. She's not over here poking me. Trust me, she will. She'll come up underneath these cards, and she would go like this if she wanted attention right now. Oh, like eggs should be. Yeah, excuse me, Missy. And I'm like, Dad, what not? It's like she got how many hot dogs today and ice cream? Like, come on now. Yeah, she's a little spoiled. She's my spoiled girl, but she's a big dog. If I don't feed her, she might eat me. When I got her, she was just over 80, and right now she's like at 100. So I think she was a little thin when I got her, especially for being a mama dog. You know, I kind of used her for breeding, and then when they were done with her, they just said, so she's my baby girl. We've been together for 3 years to now. She's my rescue. Eight of Cups. Yes. Right. Commitment being tested. That's literally what the Eight of Cups is about. It's like when you're on the journey. You might be on that spiritual awakening right now. You're like, I don't know if I can do another round of popes. Just hang in there. There's one coming, right? Okay. The renewal is coming. It is. It's going to be fine. Okay? Again, that confidence, right? When I was going through a rough period, and this was like fairly soon after a lot of things had happened in my life. One of my friends was like, "What happened to the such and such I used to know?" And I thought, oh, "Gee, sorry, I'm not." You know, I was still going through a pain process, a shedding process, crying, emotional healing, right? Um, you know, always, thinking everything's going to work out for you doesn't always happen sometimes, right? That's when we get in that crisis of confidence, right? So commitment being tested. Yeah. Crisis of confidence, crisis of conscience sometimes, crisis of faith. But, maybe you need to be over here and not at the beer pong table right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, maybe you need a moment of solitude. How that looks for you, I don't know. What are you passionate about, right? I just took long walks on the beach, right? Um, okay. Let's keep going here. Um, this garden that I got started, it's I'm happy with it right now. Hopefully it'll keep going. But yeah, it's something for me to look forward to. I check on it every day, right? You know, 5 of Wands. So yeah, at the beginning of the reading, I was getting that Five of Pentacles, and that might be, yeah, that might be why you're feeling like your passion could be getting zapped, because instead of putting it into yourself, you're putting it into all this competition. So that might be the adjustment that's required. And sometimes we get into these competitions and we realize it's like, well, who am I even competing with here? Like, really, the only person you should be competing with is yourself to be better than yesterday, right? I love you more today than yesterday, right? Even more than tomorrow. Okay. So what kind of adjustment do you need to get that pep pep back up in your step? You know what I mean? Something like that. She's laying right in the front of the door, so it's like, yeah. She's smiling. She's so cute. I always ask her that. I'm like, how'd you get to be so cute? Uh, the whole thing was okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Queen of Wands. Collective, there might be somebody in your energy that you find attractive. Again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Leo will be having a birthday near the end of the summer, right? We're still in spring at the moment, okay? But again, Leo here on this card, all right? So I feel like especially Leos are fairly well known for being kind of extroverted, right? That doesn't mean you can't have some quiet introversion time. But, some people it's like, yeah, this is cool, right? Yeah, get into the groove, okay? Right? The gathering is hip, okay? And that's totally the type of gathering that a Queen of Wands is going to be at, right? So you might be like attending some parties, some festivals, some events, some markets, something. Queen of Wands out there. So if you're wheeling and dealing, right? Um, Definitely do watch your money though as you're out in public and your bags and stuff. Some people these these people come back, they'll come so close to you, they'll try and swipe your RFID or whatever, these things. I'm just saying. There's technologies that, just, I'm not, and here's the thing too. Queen of Wands is somebody that uses their intuition, like their street smarts. Okay. So, she's going to look good, but, yeah, you might want to be careful, right? Trying to play her. Okay. I'm just saying it may not turn out well, right? Okay. Yeah. Start. and, and I feel like that might be collective also. What has been testing you is people wanting to, like, they've been pushing your buttons, right? And you've realized, okay, if I just step away from some of this chaos, right? Okay, yeah, magician. Look at that. So I feel like you have some communication coming about this new start. Okay, somebody could want this new start with you. It could be somebody that's a bit of a talker, not gonna lie, bit of a talker. Okay, Mercury, magician, just saying. Okay, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Right, buyer beware. Right. So, yeah. Now, who's to say it might be fun though, right? So, again, it may be one of these things where you take it for what it is, and experience, right? And then it's like, all right, and now we're on to the next thing. Okay. And the next thing is that we get to wake up and say, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen today? Right? Instead of like, ooh, what's gonna happen? It's more like looking forward to it. It's like, oh yeah, I got something for you over here. Right? It's almost like you start wheeling and dealing with the universe like you're, right? Like you are this ringmaster over your own three-ring circus. And sometimes that's kind of how it feels, right? Okay. So, some of that circus might be slowing down a little bit with this new start, where you don't have to be managing this over here and managing that over there, and scowling at people while you're driving. You know what I mean? All those things. Okay. And I feel like part of that is because you're going to be approaching it with some clear, open heart, right? Um, I'm not saying unprotected, I'm saying open, right? So there's just a slight difference there, right? Okay. Anyway, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Yeah, again, Five of Swords. So beware of slick talkers that it's like, yeah, but I need you here because of this, and I need it because of that. And it's like, well, why can't you do any of that? What do you need? What do you need me for? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, so and so needs help with this, and blah blah blah. It's like, well, um, didn't they get that job themselves? Like, what again? What do they need? It's like they want to turn over the babysitting duty, but it's not like it's babysit. It's like they want to set the permanent cruise control on your and burden you with it, and it's like, no, that's not gonna happen. So these burdens over the summer, I feel like or as spring molds into summer, I feel like are going to start shutting, and yeah, there might be some butt hurts out there about it with their little grumpy scowly faces. Um, and again, like that Sex in the City, like, Samantha's dermatologist, like, you can go like this, or you can go like this, right? Isn't it more pleasant to look at a smiling face than a angry, scowling one, right? And I'm not saying, of course, that we don't get mad, right? And then, hey, take a little time out. Sometimes that's all you need, you know? Again, I will be sharing my 5-minute rule video here very soon for you guys. It may help you in your meditative practice as it has helped me. That is the number one purpose for me doing really any of these videos is to help others in the way that I feel that the universe has helped me, not only to succeed but to heal. Um, so it's not just succeeding but thriving in life, right? Okay. So I will close it out here. And again, thank you for the likes. Please do like the video if you've been in the chat today. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video. Until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.